Hi, I'm Chris Hampton, and I'm the founder of the CHAMPIAM Summit. And I'm so excited about this summit because this is the second summit that CHAMPIAM has been able to sponsor and host. And I'm just excited about the speakers that are going to be about the next 3 days that you're going to come in contact with. You know, the theme of this conference is taking the limits off. And that's what I want to share. I want to kind of set the atmosphere for this conference and why I chose taking the limits off. One of the things that we realize is that life has a way of either guiding you, providing for you, or ruling you. And what people don't realize is that they have a choice. And when I think about limitations, is that sometimes the only person that's able to limit you is you. And that is a truth that is there. Yes, we have societal pressures, environmental pressures, conditionings, and systems that are designed to keep you in place, keep you out of the loop, keep you down pressed. But the ultimate choice on whether you're going to submit comes to you. But if you've been conditioned, sometimes you don't even realize that you have been conditioned to think a certain way until someone like me comes to challenge you. So I was thinking about when you're taking the limits off, the imagery that really stuck in my mind was the elephant. The elephant is the kind of interesting beast when I think of it. It's one of the strongest beasts in the animal kingdom. But I remember seeing this image of an elephant that was tied to a stake and a chain. Right now, this elephant can, I think, I saw, can actually has a capacity of towing like 13,000 pounds. Right, that's a lot. Right, it can take weight that is uh, twice its size and still haul it, right? Yet there is a chain and a stake in the ground that is on one leg, not all four legs, one leg that's keeping that mighty beast in check. And I was like, how in the world does the chain keep that massive mastodon elephant in place, right? So I looked it up and I came across the story. And I said, a man was passing by and saw the elephant and suddenly stopped. And he asked the guy at the circus, how is this elephant fit? Just the same question that I asked. How is this elephant being chained and submitted to this chain? And the guy began to tell the process of training the elephant, right? And he says, as a baby elephant, a young elephant, they have that restraint on them. So they're trained with that restraint. And as the elephant gets older and stronger and bigger, the elephant's mind is thinking that it's still unable to shake off that restraint. At any time, if that elephant caught the revelation and the understanding of how strong it was, it could easily just pull the stake out the ground, but he won't even resist against the binds because it's been conditioned in him since he was a baby to be able to say that that chain is going to hold you back. You only have but a certain amount of steps before the chain's restriction mentally affects you physically. And that's what's happening a lot of times when we're dealing with the restraints of life, is that life has been conditioning you. Instead of you cultivating life, life is cultivating and conditioning you to respond in a certain way, right? You are greater than any restraint. You have more power and potential that's on the inside of it. You have limitless potential if you're willing to tap into it. And when you understand that potential is what life could be, and that the only thing that is limiting your potential is how you perceive your environment. You see, you can't allow the chains that someone else has put on you and on your life to restrict you, okay? And to confine what level of success you can get. You know, I've always run across that when in our neighborhood, we always had the expression that the man is trying to keep you down. And in some situations, we have systematic racism where it's in there, where it's designed to resist you when you move forward. But yet, when it came to me starting my business, the man couldn't stop me from starting my business. It's the mindset. I'm aware of the obstacles, but I also am aware of how I can overcome the obstacles, and that my glass ceiling is the ceiling that I put in place, not the ceiling that someone puts in place for me. Like I said, well, I'm underappreciated at my job and they don't pay me enough. Then negotiate your contract with someone else. When you realize that you have more power, even when you're looking for a job, you have more power in you than you realize. Because what you're doing on that job interview is you are basically negotiating your goods and services. So if you negotiate your goods services that it says worth $7 an hour, that's what you negotiated. But when you realize that you have more potential and you have more to put on the table and more to offer, you come to the table with a different swag, right? And you will only work for those people that can respect what you're able to negotiate. My thing is, I want you to be able to negotiate larger settlements, larger income, larger opportunities, right? I want you to be able to see, when you look at you, that the limitations that you are allowing are limitations that, again, you are allowing to be put on you. I want you to look in the mirror and say, I'm not going to allow anyone to limit my vision. I'm not going to allow anyone to limit my dreams. I'm not going to allow someone to limit my effort. I am going to be able to maximize every opportunity. You see, that's a mindset. It's a mindset that's opposite than the one that you've been conditioned, but you've been conditioned, and you have to realize that you've been conditioned. You cannot allow the chains of someone to confine your success. You define your success, or you will be confined to someone else's view of what success is. So you make that choice right now. The first limitation that I'm going to take off is I'm going to take off the limit that's trying to confine my version of success. I'm not going to live by your standards. I'm going to live by the standards of my vision. And the bigger my vision, the bigger my standards are going to be. And a lot of times when you have a vision that's bigger than you and you're starting to share, there goes those people that are going to try to bring that collar around you and get you back to say, well, you're better off working a 9 to 5, or you're better off because you can get better benefits if you stay with that country. But when you realize that your vision is so much more than benefits, that when you tap into your potential and your vision and you start living your life on purpose, what happens is your purpose will feed you if you take your time to cultivate your purpose. But you can't feed your purpose and be confined and restricted at the same time. So realize that that's someone else's standard that you're putting on and not your standard. So I'm not going to allow someone to confine my standard. The other thing is, I'm not going to allow someone to confine me to my environment. Because again, the elephant that's confined, he's confined to that circus environment, and he's confined that he can only have the parameters that are in that circus, right? I don't want to be confined to an environment. When people are telling me that the environment around me is designed to keep me down, the environment that's around me is designed to make me not want to move forward. But the great thing about man is that man is designed in a way that we will adapt and evolve. I'll say it again. There's a difference. First, we will adapt to a situation. When I say I adapt to the situation, that means I am versatile. The environment might not be versatile. There might not be many options in the environment itself if you leave the environment up to its own device. But you, as a man and a woman that is created to adapt and evolve, you will be able to make the changes so that you can take an environment that was not conducive for growth and turn it into a place of growth, a place of change. Have you ever seen someone in a city and they had the city of projects where they would take, abandoned lots, right? The environment is a junkyard lot. Yeah, it's a junkyard. It just looks like it's worthless and it's collecting dust and junk, and people just keep throwing trash on there because people just don't see the opportunity that the environment could be. But someone comes into the environment and says, "I see that this junkyard can be turned, this junk lot can be turned into a beautiful garden." They had to realize that if they were going to stick with the environment, or they had the ability to adapt and change the environment that they were in. That's so important. You may be the change maker in the professional world, where you're coming into the status quo and the environment is toxic. The environment is limited. Everything about the environment is oppressive. But when you understand that you are not dictated by the environment, that you can change the environment by just your presence, then you go into these environments creating new worlds, creating new opportunities, taking which was once toxic and purifying it and making it profitable. It's the same environment, but different perspective. So I'm not going to allow my environment or people's understanding of the environment change the way that I am viewing my purpose. That's so important, okay? Because out of the speakers that you're going to hear today, you're going to hear people with their experiences of how they were able to change their environment. Now, if they were able to change their environment, you're able to change your environment too, but you have to believe that you have control over your environment. When you think that you have no control, when you think that you have no options, you will not think in adaptation mindset. You will not think that I can adapt and overcome this. You will say, well, this is how life is, and this is the card that I was dealt with, so I got to live with the card that I was dealt with. Nope, 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 no. What we have been given is the opportunity to create. You have the creative influence, the creative ability to create the life that you have in the environment that you're in. Again, because if you don't change and adapt to your environment, you risk becoming extinct. When you don't change your mindset about your environment, you will be consumed by the environment that you're around, and you will become extinct. So you need to be able to adapt, make the necessary changes that I need to do to survive in this environment, or create and change this environment into one that's conducive for my growth. But you won't do that if you not willing to adapt. Evolution is something when you begin to change. Now, when you're adapting, what happens when you're adapting is that you are adapting to the situation. But when you are evolving, something happens on the inside of you, and your changes that are inside of that makes you able to conquer which was once conquering you, because you've evolved on the inside. The whole DNA structure changes up on you, right? So now you're able to evolve. It's a different version of yourself. Hey, some of you need to say, I need to see a different version of myself. I need to evolve. Well, the first thing part of evolve is in realizing that you are not limited by your environment. Your environment is there to feed you. Your environment is there to cultivate you. Your environment is there to grow with you. But if you do not take care of that environment can overcome you. That environment can confine you. That environment can constrict you. But you have to see that you are able to change your environment. The other thing you want to do is, you don't want to confine yourself, the limitation of other people's expectations, right? You can't allow other people's expectation of you to change how you are responding in the world that you are living in. It's very, very, very difficult if you're going to leave your life in the hands of someone else, right? You may be on the job right now and you feel that you are being restricted by those rules, and restricted by the ethics, or restricted by the glass ceilings that are put in place. You have a choice. And if you're going to choose to live up to those expectations, or you can choose to be able to evolve and overcome those expectations. But I will not allow the expectations and the perspective of others when it comes to my destiny to guide me. or to give me direction, because you got to be very careful the people that you allow to speak into your life when it comes to fulfilling your vision for your destiny. I'll give you an example. You want to start a business. You want to do something that's different. You want to be maybe the first person in your family to go to college, but you have a working class family. And they're saying, well, none of our family went to college before, but you feel that college is that next level for you, right? Boom, you can go to college. Or you feel like it's too late for you to go to college because you're older and more seasoned, and you're like, I can't go back to college at this point. Someone's telling you too old to go to college. That's the expectation that you're putting, a limitation that you're allowing someone else's expectation of you to keep you down. Listen, there are a lot of things that are out there today in today's society that is telling me who and what I can and cannot be, right? I refuse to allow someone else and seek someone else's validation, seek someone else's permission to be who I am called to be. You know, I'm kind of not afraid to say this, but I remember having an engagement where I was at a top-notch school. If I was named the school, you would know. But I had the feeling that when someone else was looking at what I had to offer, they felt that I hadn't had enough value to bring to the table. But I know the value that I have when I come to the table. I can't help your perspective of me is not where you think it is. But if I ever show up in the spot, and when I showed up in the spot, I was able to show up with the truth and the true version of me. I was able to show up in full force, and I was still able to impact people around, even though their perspective of me was not what my perspective of champ was, right? So you can't allow someone else's limiting beliefs about what they think you can do stop you from doing what you're doing. I remember when I first started speaking, and I knew I was supposed to be a global teacher. I knew I was supposed to be a motivational speaker. I knew that I was supposed to impact the world. But what happened was, I've had people who had, maybe higher education than I did, was looking at me through the eyes of, well, you're not Les Brown, or who do you think you are, or what makes you think that someone wants to listen to you? If I had listened to their expectations and their perceptions of what I could do, or what I should do, or what I should be, or who I should be, I wouldn't be here today. And you don't realize how much of that collar of the limited release of other people's expectations and perceptions holds you back, but it does if you let them. I had to realize from the inner being of who I was that I was called to do greater than what I was doing. And what happened was, because I understood my purpose and I understood what my power was, I understood what my power looked like. So I started to look for people that had the same vision as me, and I rode with them people, because they're not going to talk down on their expectation, because they're on the path of fulfilling greatness, while other people are wondering how I did what I did or why I did what I did. I started to attach myself with people that were going, I was in the herd. You see, if the elephant stayed with the herd and they were with the herd with them was saying that you're mighty. You're not supposed to be chained up to a post. You're able to pull twice that. Why? When he starts to be exposed to greater power of people doing what he's supposed to do, other elephants that are working and moving in the strength of the elephants, and not enslaved elephants that are in the zoo, he realized I can be greater. And that's what you got to do. You got to realize that I am super powered when it comes to my giftings and my talents and ability. And I know my power comes from being and doing what I'm called to do. So when I'm running with the people that are doing that, I feel the strength, because I see the strength in them, and I realize that the strength that's in them is similar to the strength that's in me, and I won't let those limitations hold me down. Yes, take the limits off. Say to yourself, put it in the text, I'm taking the limits off this year. And again, you have to make sure that you're aware of these things, because these things can sometimes creep up on you. So when someone else you're sharing your new vision, you have to be careful who you're sharing your vision with, because when you're sharing your vision with people that are on the block and never left the block, they only have block revelation of what they can do. So they're talking to you out of their viewpoint, because that's all they see what life is. But when you are able to see that you're being given the gift of vision to see your life in a different place, then you now are able to match your vision with people that are going in the same direction. And that will only encourage you and expose you to more. Lastly, you cannot be confined by people with no vision. This is very important. People with no vision, it's kind of like the example that I just gave you, are not going to be able to see the vision, the big picture for you. I remember telling my grandmother, who, bless her heart, she only had one job. She was a seamstress in a factory and stayed with that factory all of her life. So when I would make moves in my career and I would say, my first job was McDonald's, and she's like, well, you better stay with that job, young man. Stay with that job. That was McDonald's at like the lowest level. I said, no, grandma, I can't do that. I can't do that. There's something more. There's something more. And then when I got more and then I got unsatisfied with living with more, I said, I got to go to the next job. She's like, no, you got to stay in that job. Why? Because you got good benefits and good benefits. But I knew that there was more for me than that mindset. You cannot live your life with someone else's expectation of what your vision is. You know your vision is bigger for you. You know your vision is the driving force for your life. You know your vision is the GPS direction of where you're going to. And you can't allow people that ain't got a car to give you driving directions. Say that, right? They don't have the same vision. So you can't take that direction from them. And a lot of times we call people that don't have visions haters. It's not that they're haters. It's just that they don't see the same way that you do. I can't fault someone who is blind that they can't see. I can't fault someone with no vision and cannot see, right, for not being able to see. But I can thank God that I got eyes. I thank God that I have to have sight. So stop running your vision through blind people. Stop running your vision through blind eyes, but allow your eyes to be able to see life for what it's supposed to be. A lot of times life is superimposed for me. When I look at the life that I'm supposed to be and the purpose that I'm supposed to do and the impact that I'm supposed to make in the earth, it just doesn't make sense by my natural eyes. But I know on the inside of me that life is greater and greater is ahead of me and that I am more than able. I am the strong elephant that is not going to be confined by the chains of life that will keep me limited to my block, keep me limited to my old perspectives, keep me limited to my limitations and my personal faults that are going to keep me in one spot rather than realizing that the earth is mine to run. This is my world. I can run with it, right? It's all about the perspective. Do not let your life be changed by somebody else. You cannot allow your life to be changed by something that was never designed to hold you. Your job was never designed to hold you. You were always bigger than that job. Your paycheck is limited right now, and you know it's limited right now because you were never meant to be confined by a resource. I'll say it again. You were never meant to be confined by a resource. When you understand that your job is not the source, but a resource, you can now understand the limitations that a job comes with, right? Or you understand that this job is seasonal. It's only for a certain period of time. So you're not limited yourself. You're not tied to something thinking that this is all I have when you realize, hey, when you understand that your job is a resource, then you start to drain that resource for what it is because you know that resources are for a limited period of time, right? So when you can find yourself from drinking from one well instead of digging multiple wells, then you're stuck. But when you know that you have options, that this resource is only for a period of time, then you understand that I'm going to maximize this job while it's there. I have a wonderful job, a wonderful company that's supportive. But if the company ever changed its position or the company ever said, hey, you got to choose between this and your purpose, right? I would have to make a decision, right? But I understand that this is just one of many wells that I can drink from. There's going to be choices for me. And I'm positioning my life that I am taking control so that I can go towards the choices that are needed. You can do that too. I hope that you're hearing my heart today, because there's a lot of speakers that you're going to hear that are going to encourage you in different ways. It's going to encourage you about your current situation that you may be in. Maybe your environment is toxic right now because of the relationships. There are people for that. Maybe you have been in a situation where your body is telling you things right now, and it's painting a picture of defeat because you had this medical condition. There are people here that have gone through it and experienced the trauma of being sick and being able to come out and not allow a sickness to disable them. Hey, there have been people in here that have lost loved ones, and they have learned how to stop the limiting part of grief, to limit them and tell them how far they can go, and allow them to be healed. There are people that needed healing and recognize that they needed healing, and they're going to show you the different ways to take the limits off. So I hope that you listen, take notes, listen to the speakers, listen to what's going on in this conference today, because this conference is going to change your perspective about how you see yourself. I just wanted to paint the picture, and I hope that picture is ingrained in your mind when you look at yourself and look at yourself now and you see the circus elephant that is sitting in there, not happy, not fulfilled, not free, but bound by a chain that was never meant to hold him. Don't allow chains to hold you. You are not meant to be changed. I need you to adapt and evolve. I need to see yourself and set yourself free. I need you to break the mental conditions that have been holding you down for so long. Some of you, you've been holding down by these negative attitudes for decades. Today is a day of change. Take notes. Confront yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror of some of these talks that you're going to hear today and say, I am going to change today. Today, my life is going to change for better because I've changed my view on how I see myself. I am mighty. I am strong. I am capable. I am more than able to accomplish the purposes that are designed on the inside of me. I am more than able to fulfill the purpose that I have been designed for in my life. I am more than able to handle the relationships that I am called to be connected to. I am more than able to handle the wealth that is supposed to be coming to me so that I am able to be responsible for the wealth that comes in my hands so I can use it for the purpose of my life. I am more than able to overcome the sicknesses that are trying to attack my body, the strokes, the brain aneurysm, maybe the diabetes, or the different things that are happening, limiting things that are limiting your condition, but you can still see that as long as you are on this earth, there is greater available for you. It's all about your perspective and the people that you're going to be running with. The CHAMPIAM Summit is a tribe in itself, and this tribe is it has the heart to help you to see yourself at a next level, at another level. So don't let this conference be a secret. Share this clip. Share some of the other speakers that you're going to hear. If you like what you heard, copy it, share it, let somebody else know. Hey, reach out to the speakers and let them know that they meant something to you, that their word has hit something to you, that their word has challenged you in a different way, because they're all assigned to give a call to action, and every call to action is going to be there to bring you to the next level. It's just, what level are you ready to step up to? My name is Chris Hampton, and I just want to say thank you again for being a part of the second CHAMPIAM Summit. If you see yourself on this platform, you see speakers on this platform, and you say, hey, I can do that, yes, you can. And sometimes it's taking the step to invest in yourself, to put yourself out there. Hey, if you think that you want to be able to speak for the next CHAMPIAM Summit, then you want to take that, look at that CHAMPIAM speaker, speak at the CHAMPIAM summit.com, speak at CHAMPIAMsummit.com, and you can sign up for the next CHAMPIAM Summit, which will be coming in a few months. So jump on now so that you can reserve your spot to be able to impact the world. But first, you got to change how you see you. Again, I'm Chris Hampton. Stay connected with me at champiam.org. And if this conference is being a blessing to you, let somebody know and let us know how we're doing. Encourage the speakers and let us know too. Thank you and God bless. And hey, take the limits off.